Well, the football season has officially begun with the preseason. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another edition here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Thank you so much for taking this time to watch the very first post-game recap. And we might have a chance to do these recaps moving forward, but first game in the books. Close to a 50 burger in that game up against the Washington Commanders. But it's your boy DTN, aka Dowd, and we got my boy Andy. How are we doing, my friend?
We are doing well, Dow. In fact, we're doing great today. How are you?
I am doing good. Originally,
awesome.
It was going to be the three of us. Austin, unfortunately, will be late. So if there's a chance that he might be late, we'll find out. But personally, work has been hectic as usual. But hey, we're here. We're back with the content, and I'm so excited for what this season has in store for us. But as usual, before we get started, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps supports the channel. And throughout the show, please post in your questions and comments in the YouTube chat. We would love to read them throughout the discussion. But I gotta ask you, Andy.
Yes.
Since you and Austin went to the game in person, can you tell our lovely audience your thoughts and experience at that football game?
At that football game, certainly, absolutely. I can start out with saying that not only was this the Pats season, or preseason rather, opener, it was the veiling of an overall 17-foot tall statue, 5-foot pedestal, 12-foot actual statue of the one, the only Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., the greatest quarterback to have ever played. And yeah, Austin and I didn't actually go to the ceremony. We watched it on the Jumbotron from Gillette, but it was a religious experience just being at that stadium when Tom Brady was there at the same time. It was just like, here he is, gave us 19, 20 years of absolute greatness. And he threw down a couple of good one-liners too.
Oh yeah,
I forget,
definitely.
one was like, he said, this isn't only for Pats fans, it's for Jets fans who might, leave Gillette throwing their coffee on it or whatever. I forget exactly what the wording was.
I think it was throwing beers at the statue in the second quarter, maybe the third quarter. I like that line, considering that
I know
for so many years we had this huge rivalry with Jets, with the New York Jets, and I'm not surprised that he took a small jab at it. But one of my favorite parts was when he was trying to comment or maybe praise the sculptor. Received a call from the one and only Coach Belichick, and he said that there could be some improvement. No surprise.
Yep, that's Bill Belichick for you. I have to reckon a little prank phone call there. But yeah, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and they said the jabs were not needed from Tom Brady, were not needed. But hey, he's not in the NFL anymore. He can feel free to take them.
Yeah, exactly. He's in the media right now.
Exactly. And so it was the Tom Brady statue unveiling and the Raw experience. This is actually my second preseason game. If Austin were here, he could tell you it was his first. And the experience was just being there for live football. Even though it's not the regular season, it's just an amazing, amazing thing. We were about on the 40-yard line on the Patriots side of the field. So imagine being a Patriots fan. You were the envy of the NFL for 20 years. You haven't seen a lot to like in the past 4 to 5 years, preseason or regular season, or our one postseason appearance. How do you feel if you're a Patriots fan, a lifelong Patriots fan, and a rookie running back, namely Trevion Henderson, rips off a full field kickoff return run for a touchdown? That was, watch the video of that. That's as electric as I have heard Gillette Stadium in years. And it was in a preseason game.
Yeah, that was actually insane. I was actually in the live stream on Patriots Global. When I saw Colby's reactions, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. Did Henderson really did that right off the bat, especially in the very first game of the season? Granted, this was the preseason, but oh my goodness, I was speechless when I heard that Trevion Henderson scored a touchdown in the very first game of the season. Almost like, my gosh, probably the special teams moving forward is going to be really impressive, especially under Jeremy Springer, because we all know in the past that the special teams unit was ranked dead last in so many categories before Jeremy Springer took over as deep special teams coordinator. So I was really, really impressed with that sequence right there. But that leads us to the segue, and we're going to be as per usual, we're going to be breaking down we're going to start off with the coaching. Then we're going to get to like the offense, I would say performance, then the defense performance, and then we will conclude with special teams. And then afterwards, me and Andy will be giving us our winners and losers, basically players that have their stocks in the right direction, and then you have players that have their stocks in the downward trend and could potentially lose their spot in the 53-man roster. But let's start off with the coaching. This is night and day compared to last year's preseason. What I was really impressed about this year's preseason game compared to last year's, they were a lot prepared. We have like a general idea of like what the offensive line is going to be, what the how much of the reps is the starters are going to have, and then how much of the backups will have. So what are your thoughts on the coaching staff this year compared to last year?
Yeah, the coaching staff, I agree with you. It's like it is like total night and day. You see a team that is working and playing together, which, needless to say, does not equate to a Super Bowl win or even the playoffs. But it is something we in Pats Nation have not seen, and for us, a good long time. Probably really since the 2019 season, the last season Tom Brady was here. But so yeah, to make a long story short, I did see, there's no I in team. That was all three phases of the game pulling together. And I think that is a testament to Coach Vrabel. He's known as a culture builder, and that is something we need here. I don't think Belichick ever necessarily had that reputation. He just had a reputation as a tough-minded, hard-headed coach, and he sure as heck was. But yeah, I was very impressed with the coaching in that game. I think it was in the second quarter. Vrabel threw not one, but two challenge flags, apparently very angrily. Can you help me out with what they were for? Because I tried to look for it earlier and I couldn't find anything, and I don't remember.
Let me look through ESPN. Mind you, I only watched like a bit of the game, but that day I was really busy with like IRL stuff. So I didn't get like a chance to see a full glimpse of the game. However, I did not know that Vrabel challenged the flags until like after the game. So maybe at some point we could take a look at it. But speaking of challenges, let's talk about the penalties. I wrote down that we only had 2 penalties worth 15 yards compared to Washington's. If I can find that,
At
if I can
least
find a
8,
stat,
maybe 9. They might have had 9.
or
They were being penalized right and left.
actually 13 penalties worth for 98 yards.
Holy Toledo. And that is something we've become sadly accustomed to, is the Patriots being one of the most penalized teams in football. And that is, again, that's a testament to the coaching. You have McDaniels back, you have Vrabel here, you have Terrell Williams / Zach Coor, you have special teams coordinator Jeremy Springer. Help me out here, Dow, when he was with the Titans, but I do not believe they were ever exactly a heavily penalized team under him.
Under
And
Mike Vrabel?
exactly.
I don't know exactly. Maybe this is something we could look up afterwards, but if I knew ahead of time, like if they were like the most penalized, and if they were like the least penalized, I would say that was really impressive in Tennessee. And if this translates in New England, considering that we were one of the most penalized, not the most, but one of the most,
Correct.
because I think the Jets were the most penalized last year. So under both Mike Vrabel and under Aaron Glenn, both have, even though they're both different coaches, but at least their mindset is similar to like, we want to cut down the penalties because penalties are a game changer to the game. And it seems like in this game, I felt like we were a lot more disciplined than years past, because even under the great Bill Belichick, we were not disciplined. Then again, there were some questionable calls, but at the end of the day, a call is a call. You need to be more disciplined regardless of like the whole situation and whatnot. But
I remember our last Super Bowl winning season, even in 2019 or 2018 into 2019, there was a lot of flag throwing going around in that season for the Pats, I think. I just quickly look it up.
I'm just gonna look up the challenges from that game, because I try to look through ESPN. I couldn't even find any of like the challenges. But let's see what the this is really difficult. But what are your thoughts on Josh McDaniels' performance as an offensive coordinator in his third stint in New England?
Well, we're seeing what we saw before here when he was offensive coordinator. If you have I don't know how to word this, but he's not a shoot. I'm sorry, I'm giving dead air here because I know what I want to say. I just can't put it into words. If only Austin were here.
Yeah.
But yeah, McDaniels. I liked how he's spicing up the offense. There I go. You're getting the running game going. You're getting the passing game going, and that's going to make it harder for the defense to always know what your next move is going to be. Like, that's been one of my complaints about the Patriots the past 2 to 3 seasons, is our offense has been extremely, extremely predictable since Josh McDaniels skipped town for the second time. I mean, people criticize him for having like a predictable offense as a head coach, but especially when Tom Brady was here, I think, he would switch up the offensive formations and completely throw opposing defenses for a loop. And we were seeing shades of that again on Friday night, between getting Ramondre Stevenson involved, getting the wide receivers involved, especially starting in the second quarter. There wasn't much of a passing game happening until the second half. But he knows how to spice it up. It's not a one-note Johnny offense when you have Josh McDaniels in the house.
Yeah, especially when you have two quarterbacks who are more mobile than what he had in past years, like with Tom Brady, with Mac Jones. Heck, even with out of prime Cam Newton, because when we had Cam Newton, Josh McDaniels was working with a different style of quarterback because we never had that kind of quarterback in Tom Brady. So, or even under Garoppolo and even one season under percent. But regardless, I felt like it's a little more modernized. We will get to the offensive like performance and recap, but we all know in years past that Josh McDaniels play calling has been like a virtuoso, especially going up against these really, really good defensive coordinators of NFL history. But I felt like the fact that we scored points in crucial times, and especially when we decided to go aggressive instead of playing passive, I really like that because last year we were way too passive instead of like being more active, more aggressive. And the fact that I saw a lot more aggression in that offense, even with Josh McDaniels' play calling, I felt that was really impressive. And the fact that we scored 48 points on mind you, these were second stringers and third stringers. I felt like Josh McDaniels' performance was like stellar, even though we all know Josh McDaniels' offense, even though last season, Josh McDaniels went to various colleges to modernize like his offensive playbook, I would say.
It was a lot more fun to watch. Well, I saw it live. Austin and I saw it live, but it was a lot more fun to watch than that season closer winner against the Bills last year when it was just like, again, it was so simple. It's like, okay, give the ball to Joe Milton. He'll throw it to Kingdom Come. And then, he throws it he runs in for a touchdown and rah, rah, rah. That's not a multi-dimensional offense. That is a one-dimensional offense, and that's something we've had for too long a time now. And you also referenced Vrabel. I was going to say something. Anyway, no, I'm just going to carry on. But
yeah,
so it was 48-18 was the final score, and Vrabel went through it. It might have been twice on fourth down.
Yep, they went it twice on fourth down, and they definitely converted 2 out of 2, which was
wound
really
up scoring on both of those. At least one of those fourth down conversions was a touchdown. And that boldness is something you just haven't seen. Belichick was even when we had prime Brady, I think Belichick was very, very chicken on calling fourth down conversions, except there was that one extremely bold fourth down call in the Super Bowl. It was like the 13-yarder to Amendola. I think that was McDaniels. But yeah, I like the, okay, here's what we do on, it's 1st and 10, it's second, pick up a few yards, 2nd and 4 or 5. And then, in 3rd and long, it's like they relieve the defense thinking, okay, is it going to be a run play? Is it going to be a pass play? So it's, like I said, he can, I know I don't sound technical here, but McDaniels can get the offensive motor rolling again in Foxborough.
Yeah, even though that was really impressive, let's see if, even though it's a nice win, let's see how well it continues going up against Brian Flores' defense, even though it's going to be against second stringers again and possibly starters. Got to make sure that you have to keep the momentum. And we will discuss like the preview of the Minnesota Vikings game at the end of the live stream. But let's now shift over to our defensive coordinator, Terrell Williams. It was reported that Terrell Williams was calling plays in the booth. Do you think that Terrell Williams could thrive his defensive play calling on the sidelines or in the booth?
If I have to hazard a guess, I'd say in the booth would suit him more now. With the health issues, I just don't think. We saw it on the Dallas sidelines in that game yesterday with the referees and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I'm digressing here, but a safer place would be for him to play to be DC, not remotely, but from the booth upstairs instead of on the sideline.
Yeah, it would make sense for him to like be in the booth, considering that he had been dealing with health issues, especially with that health scare that he had in Detroit. I think it was last Monday. He collapsed. It was reported that he did have dehydration, which especially in these hot weathers up in Boston, it's really hectic, especially in the 90-degree weather, and we all hate the kind of weather, especially as Bostonians ourselves. But
it's not. It's no fun. It's no fun.
But what I do like about the defensive coaching staff is that you at least have a backup plan, because imagine if we had a defensive coordinator who had health issues and we never had like a plan B, then that would have been a really huge issue. But I like how Vrabel came up with like a plan B of having Zach Core to act as the defensive corner in Terrell Williams' absence, which I really like, and especially with the defensive performance, which we'll get to later. It was actually impressive. Then again, there are a bit of issues that the defense can work on, but we at least have some takeaways that were really impressive, especially from these players that we generally don't see on the New England Patriots roster, and we will get to those later. But overall, I felt like the defensive coaching staff, they played their ass, they coached their asses off, and I felt like that was really impressive. The defensive coaching staff, and I'm gonna say this again, night and day with the defensive coaching staff, because under that other defensive corner, which I'm not gonna even mention, it was really impressive. It's like the old Patriots defense that we've been seeing under the Belichick era.
Yeah, that defense, I mean, even, the last couple of years under Belichick, we had at least some defensive firepower. Last year, we had none.
Yeah. And yes, Thomas, I know who you're talking about. I'm not gonna even say his name because of what he did to that talented defense that we have. But let's now head over to the like the passing offense, and then we'll get to the running offense. I felt like the passing offense was a bit overwhelming because I'm gonna read these stats. So all the quarterbacks combined, it was 17 out of 29 completed for 174 yards, and yards per pass were 5.8. What are your thoughts on like the passing offense from all three of our quarterbacks?
Yeah, the passing was not great. And that is, again, the fact we dropped 48 points. Again, it was second and third stringers, but the fact that we dropped 48 points on a team that made the NFC Championship game last year is a testament to the offensive guru that Josh McDaniels still is. I mean, that passing game, if I actually have the stats by quarterback right here, and the best one was UDFA, Ben Woldridge, who had, if I can just pull it up here, Ben Woldridge played most of the second half, the entire second half. Had a 75% completion percentage. He went 9 for 12 for 132 yards and a touchdown. That's an undrafted free agent. Now, he's not your starter. Drake May is going to be your starter. But here's Drake May's passing stats. 60%, 3 of 5 for 12 total yards. He only played 2 drives, but even for, fans of Drake May, as I know our friend Austin has been from the word go, and I have become over the past year, we know he's mobile, but we also want to see him become more confident in throwing the ball. And we'll get to the strip sack later on. Josh Dobbs, 5 of 12, 41.7% for 45 yards. Under and overthrowing, especially Kyle Williams, which we'll get to momentarily in the receiving offense. But the passing game was the one element of that offense that I believe actually left the most to be desired, more so than offensive line play.
Yeah, I just feel like the offense. Yeah, this is something that the Patriots should work on, especially this upcoming week when they fly over to Minnesota. And if this performance continues to be like this, then we're going to definitely have some problems moving forward, especially how the passing aspect of the offense is really crucial, especially for a quarterback, because you can't be just like running the damn ball in every snap of the drive. But I just feel like our main backup quarterback and our franchise quarterback didn't perform that well, especially when we get these second stringers. And it doesn't help that our offensive line played a lot better than in the previous year. So that is a little concerning, especially making these short, efficient passes. That's not good. And there has to be a lot more improvement to that, especially. Then again, you have a couple of wide receivers dropping the balls, but at the same time, it's how you throw the ball that it's a little more concerning then.
You don't want, especially, and we saw this with younger Josh Allen, I believe, even more recently with Josh Allen a couple of years ago, where he is his touchdown to interception ratio was abysmal. But we don't want to see Drake May playing hero ball on every drive. I mean, and Vrabel alluded to that in his post-game press conference. He was not pleased with that strip sack at all, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. And that's the kind of coach you need to, who's willing to speak up about these turnovers and work with the quarterback on cutting back on them. Because Drake May, well, keep an eye on quarterbacks these next two preseason games, but the hero ball is something that Drake May will need to cut back on, or he's going to be labeled a turnover machine again.
Yeah, and especially when Mike Vrabel, Ryan Cowden, and heck, even Elliott Wolf throughout the offseason try to build the offense player personnel, considering that we had the worst rosters last season. And Drake May, at some point, now that you have the talent, you have a better offensive line, you have a better supporting cast of weapons. At some point, you can't be just putting the ball in the most precarious situation because now you have a proven offensive coordinator. You now have a proven head coach. Heck, even Mike Vrabel said it himself in the press conference. He did not like what he saw from Drake May, and these are things that needs to be improved immediately, especially when you're going up against Minnesota next week. We can't see these mistakes. And it was reported today at training camp, even though it's not like a training camp recap, the red zone scoring from the red zone was abysmal. Drake May did not look well. 5 out of 13 passes. It was not impressive from Drake May. And there's so much he can improve on. But I just feel like that the passing offense could have been more improved. this upcoming week, and then the final game against the Giants. So yeah, I think that the passing offense is gonna be that one weakness that Josh McDaniels and the rest of the coaching staff need to work on when it comes to like play calling, but also like technique wise and fundamentals. But let's now switch over to the rushing attack of the offense. And before we get to that, please make sure, as you join in, guys, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps supports the channel in a massive way. And throughout the show, please post in your questions and comments in the YouTube chat. We would love to read them. But let's now head over to the rushing attack. So I wrote down the stats, and the Patriots ran the ball at least 31 times, and we ran for like 153 yards. Yards per rushing attack was a 4.9. What were your thoughts on the rushing attack from the offense?
So I liked the rushing attack far more than, again, not, you just pointed out the stats, not a lot of yards, but the rushing attack was it was what we needed. It was what we wanted to see and what we come to expect from Patriots running backs during the dynasty. No turnovers by a running back, including Ramondre Stevenson, whose stats I have up right here. I have my I actually have my notes on the rushing attack right here. 18 yards and an 18-yard run by Ramondre Stevenson and 3 catches for 12 yards. The running back depth chart actually looks really good right now when you consider Antonio Gibson had a kick return of 62 yards. He almost ran it in for another cross the field score. Ramondre Stevenson even had an okay game, rushing 7 times for 36 yards, averaging 5.1 a carry. And he took care of the ball. UDFA Lan Larison, who sadly we now know is out for the season on with a broken foot, scored the game's final touchdown, had nearly identical overall stats to Mondre, went 7 of 35, 5 yards per carry. And he had a 25-yard return, which if he hadn't been stopped, he would have gone across the field too. So that's potentially 3 across the field scores you could have seen. Of course, that really is more of a special teams thing. But I was very pleasantly surprised with this rushing attack. I mean, we won't have Larison, but Trevion Henderson, look out, NFL. That guy is a fucking gazelle. He can run like. And that's the kind of guy you want. He doesn't have the same build as a Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry, but he is elusive. I mean, that build, I believe, he's actually not that tall. Let me just look it up here.
Yeah, it's 5'11".
5'11". Okay, 5'11", and I think his weight's like 205, 202. 5'10", 202 he's listed at. That's not exactly a big running back. We know Derrick Henry and Saquon are much stockier guys, but he is. I could see that smaller size actually helping a lot with his elusiveness, which we could use against some of the defenses we'll be facing this year. Like the Jets always have a pretty stout defense. The Bills defense is no pushover. Cincinnati, that's something to talk about for another time. We're not going to be facing the best defenses in the league, but dare I say this, if you get to the playoffs, you're going to want to have a guy like Trevion Henderson. And for the love of God, please don't let this kid not get injured.
Yeah, especially when he did have had an injury history before Quishon Jukins, and I think we did a great job of selecting Henderson over Jukins because we all know Jukins have some legal issues now. So we all know Cleveland and their legal and players with legal issues, but we're not Cleveland. We're the New England Patriots. So that's a complete difference because people will overhype the fact of people will praise Ashton Genty or Amarian Hampton, but no one's talking about Travion Henderson. And I was really displeased by the media of not focusing on Travion Henderson when clearly he's a better version, I would say 2 times better than James White and Shane Vereen. That is how impressive we have at running back. And people will bash on that pick saying, oh, we could have drafted a wide receiver or edge rusher. I was one of those guys. But after looking at the tape, and huge shout out to Thomas for talking about like the film breakdown and all of that, I just love what I saw from Travion Henderson coming out of college. Granted, he was the CFP national champion for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I just feel like if Travion Henderson continues to stay healthy and continues to make plays, my goodness, he's definitely going to be a Pro Bowler caliber running back, or even better, an all-pro caliber running back, which we all want for all in New England. And because we all know Josh McDaniels love his running backs. And that's what you want to see, especially for a rushing attack. Stevenson did look a lot better than we all anticipated. But let's get back to the wide receivers. And granted that some of the wide receivers should have had their moments, and some of these wide receivers shouldn't have been like taken out of the field. But which of the wide receivers impressed you the most?
Of the wide receivers who played on Friday?
Yes.
This is not a surprise given OTAs. Efton Chisholm the third. As my guy Brett Alper over at Patriots Talk, over at Patriots Chat Sports said,
Patriots Today by Chat Sports. There you go.
Thank you. Patriots Today by Chat Sports. Thanks, Doe. He's not Efton around. And if you watched the latter half of the third quarter, the fourth quarter of that game, this topic went off in the chat earlier today. Put Efton Chisholm on this roster pronto. And when we talk about risers and fallers, we'll talk about a certain Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. The latter may actually wind up on special teams. But the passing game, just have it here. Chiz. Stephon Diggs did not play. We didn't see much from Kayshon Boutte either.
I don't think we've seen much of Pop either.
No, we did not.
And then Diggs and Bourne were inactive, so.
I know. Where's my Chisholm stuff?
Like your Chisholm notes or the stats? Because I
have here we go. UDFA Efton Chisholm III had 6 for 8 catching, a 75% catch rate for 50 yards and a touchdown. 50 yards was not a lot for a wide receiver. But I mean, the fact that he didn't play the first half and still had, 50 receiving yards, he had a touchdown too. I mean, that's a guy. I mean, I know Stephon Diggs didn't play, Boutte and Pop hardly played, but that's a guy you think, geez, this is a UDFA? And he looked like this, mind you, against second and third stringers again. But he's a guy we need on this roster. And you can tell, Vrabel likes Chisholm, McDaniels likes Chisholm. So yeah, the wide receiver for me was definitely EC3. Kyle Williams did not have as good a night as he could have. The third round rookie out of, I believe, Washington.
Yep.
But
Washington State, but
he
I would
went-
say with Kyle Williams, he would have had an easy touchdown
exactly.
if it wasn't for Joshua Dobbs' performance.
He went 0 for 3, but he would have had an absolutely gorgeous,
because he had better separation
from behind touchdown if Josh Dobbs had not underthrown that ball.
or over.
And still it missed. The miss was very narrow. If you can see my fingers, it was like, you can't. It was like, not like that, but it was a narrow miss.
Oh, I think we have Austin here, and let's get his thoughts before we move on to. Let's just see what his thoughts are on his experience at the game before we move on to all this. So, how are we doing, Austin?
Welcome in, Austin, man.
What's up, guys? Really sorry I'm late. I had to take care of something, but glad I'm here. The game was incredible. I have no words. I mean, I've never been to Gillette before, and just the atmosphere, like the walk to there, you're seeing everything. We got to see the Brady statue unveiled, and I mean, Tom Brady was in the building. Just the noise. I don't know. I couldn't be happier. I was the whole time I'm sitting next to Andy, I'm scrolling on my phone, ready to buy a new ticket for a regular season game. I was sold. There's nothing like being at a game. It's insane.
There isn't. There really isn't. I mean, watching it on your TV, or it's like every time I put my TV on, it's like, why am I not at fucking Gillette right now? I'm right there with you, Austin. I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and get tickets for at least one regular season game, because the atmosphere there this year, something is telling me it's gonna be like Anderson running that ball 100 yards back for a touchdown. I mean, Brett Alpert did deign to say the Patriots were back. I'm not there yet, but I see that look on your face, Austin. I'm headed in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, the Henderson kick return to start it all off before we dropped 48 points on the Commanders was just insane. And the fact that it's like we haven't even sniffed anywhere near that many points. Granted, it is a preseason. I'm not trying to get like so excited over it. Right. But the last time we did that, I think we were saying it was like 2022. Like,
January against the Jags, yep.
Like, terrible. So if we can have more games like that, or just close games in general type of thing, like, we're gonna have a fun year.
100%. And I'm sorry to butt in again, but I heard on the radio yesterday, oh yeah, there'll be some blowouts against the Patriots this year with Mike Vrabel heading that coaching staff. I would not bet on that. I mean, it's very early to say which of these games will be close and which games won't be. I mean, but the Patriots are actually favored in 11 games this year. We were favored in 3 headed into 2023 and none headed into 2024. Vrabel pops in as head coach. McDaniels backs your offensive coordinator. You're favored in 11. Does that mean you'll go 11-6? Does it mean you'll go 12-5? No, because invariably a team always loses at least one game they're favored in. But I loved the vibe at that game. As I said earlier in this podcast, I like the way the Patriots played as a team. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that in a long time. The offense clicked. That has not been something we've said as Pats fans in how long?
I don't know. The closest would have been like the Mac Jones rookie season, where we're like thinking we're back, and
right, and that's a teensy bit of a stretch,
right?
But no, it was just like being at that game, and it was an entirely different experience from the preseason game I went to against the Eagles last fall. I mean, people just went into that season with the assumption we'd be shit, and we wound up being complete and utter shit. But
Yeah, I think your team performs as well as your fans think you'll do too, right? Like I think part of that plays into it. Where if you're going into a season as a player and all your fans are just chattering that this team's shit, this team sucks, they're not going to do anything, then that's just going to sit in their mind the whole season. We're like this season, we're going to go all the way. I mean, we're not Cowboys fans here, okay? We're not that delusional, right? But we're definitely a lot more uplifting this year than years prior. And it's good to see.
100%. It's very good to see.
Yeah. Now let's I want to get Austin's thoughts on like the coaching staff and like the offense before we move on to like maybe the defense and possibly like the red zone scoring, because I see DPF in the chat talking about like the red zone scoring, but let's quickly touch on the red zone scoring. Scoring in the red zone, it was 5 out of 6 attempts to score in the red zone, which was really impressive. But in training camp today, red zone scoring took a massive step back. So what are your thoughts on the like the red zone performance in training camp so far from the Patriots? I'll start with you, Austin. I know that we didn't watch the training camp recap, but what are your thoughts?
I think much like anything, there's always room for improvement. I think there's been a lot of ups and there's been a lot of downs in training camp. We've also seen a lot of mix-ups on defense. Like I think today Duggar was on second team and they had Woodson playing with the first team. So then it's like, does that make it easier for the offense to now go and score in the red zone? Like there's all sorts of different factors that play in as to who's into what set and how Josh McDaniels is going to draw up given the individuals in the package that's on the field. I think it's stuff that'll all get ironed out. I'm not over here like waving the white flag, showing much concern, you know. Like I said, I just want to see some improvement, but I think it's light years better than anything we were trying to scrape together last year with Van Pelt. Unfortunately, like that didn't work out. I thought Van Pelt did a good job developing Drake May, and I think we're all the better for it because we're off on a better foot this year where he's already kind of like up to speed and McDaniels can kind of teach him what he needs to know. And I think if you start at your quarterback, you can kind of go from there and then everything will just make its way.
Yeah, the thing with AVP, and I really like AVP, I just think that it's too early for him to be an offensive coordinator. In my opinion, he's more of like your quarterback's coach and a passing game coordinator, if you know what I'm thinking. Because as a passing game coordinator, you get to learn under like a true offensive coordinator. You get to learn how to like dial up plays and all of that. So I wish that I wish that AVP would have a second chance with the New England, but I think he will do great as a offensive assistant under Sean McVay for the LA Rams. And granted, the LA Rams have been an offensive coaching factory. If you're under a McVay, if you're coach under a McVay, you will be bound to have success, especially on the offensive side. But during the first 30 minutes of the live stream, I know you were absent, but what were your thoughts on the coaching staff in general?
As far as like the preseason game?
Yeah,
I thought they game planned really well. I mean, they kind of understood the type of team they were going in. I understand Jaden Daniels wasn't playing, but I think the backups that they do have on the Commanders are similar stylistic to how Daniels would play. And I think they just put people in the position to succeed. It's kind of like a flashback to the Bill Belichick mantra of things where it's like everybody just kind of doing their job. It's like putting the people in their position to succeed and telling them, hey, you just need to do this. Like, and if you only worry about doing this, then stuff's going to happen. And you saw that multiple times on defense with a couple of picks and just some good defensive stops. Special teams was amazing. I thought our special teams coordinator was probably coach of the night, to be honest with you, just because we had him miss that one field goal. We got the kick return touchdown. Gibson nearly broke it again for another long touchdown on a kick return. I think all around it was solid. I would like to see a lot more improvement out of the offense because there were some instances where I was kind of like wishy-washy, but we did score 5 out of 6 times in the red zone too, like you said. So I can't really complain there.
Do you think like the passing game could be more improved considering that only Ben Wildrich had like more of an impressive game than Joshua Dobbs and Drake May?
Yeah, so while we were at the game, there was a graphic up on the scoreboard, and it was something I kept pointing out to Andy and actually some of the fans nearby. And I was just like, wow, we're up by this much. And I'm looking, and it says running yards, and it's like 137 at the time. And it says passing yards, -3. So we had that many points. We were ahead, and our passing game was non-existent. So yeah, I think I mean it's a two-sided coin or like a glass half full type of look to it. Where on one hand you could say, "Wow, our run game's destroying. We don't need to pass." But on the other hand, you're like, "Well, I would like to see us passing because I'm not really confident we can do it because I've only seen them run."
Yeah. And obviously, you were really impressed with the rushing defense. What were your thoughts on like the running backs? And even there were moments where both of our quarterbacks score a rushing touchdown. That was one of their only highlights, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Henderson is going to give Ramondre a run for his money. Like, it's not even close now. I mean, you have him contributing on special teams there with that huge kick return. And then he only rushed one more time, and it was like a 18-yard gain or a 20-yard gain. And then he caught the ball 3 more times for an additional, like, let's say 14 yards or so. So very limited on the offense, but you could just see his explosiveness on that kick return. It's a lot to look forward to. I thought Ramondre was okay, but you can definitely see him, like, in a position where he's fighting for his job. Like, out of the running backs, like I could see it being Henderson and Gibson going into the season, to be quite honest with you. I thought Gibson had a good night. He contributed on special teams. He had a couple good runs. Unfortunately, Lan Larison, we all know, went on IR. He was a fan favorite of ours. We really wanted him to make the roster. I guess from my understanding from Los Talks Patriots on Twitter, he actually played, like, he broke his foot somewhere before the half, and he actually continued the rest of the game on a broken foot. And then obviously got put on IR. And then Terrell Jennings, I thought, had a solid night. He kind of got in when the third strings were going, but I think he got a score as well. He said the quarterbacks. Drake May really hated that fumble that he had, and that it was either the opening drive or the drive right after that.
It was the second drive. Well, technically the first offensive
The first drive, yeah.
Okay. So I would prefer if, he just kind of has more of an understanding of where he is and like how to get rid of that ball, because, he's kind of going down and he's juggling to try and like throw it. And obviously he fumbles it. In one of those situations, you just got to secure the ball and go down. Or you got to just try and get it away sooner, basically. I did think on the following drive, he did a very good job of leading the offense down. Granted, it was all rushing, so not a lot of passing, but it was a lot of, diagnosing the coverages and diagnosing who's where and telling who to block who. So that's good. And then he had that 5-yard rushing touchdown. It was really nice. I thought Dobbs played amazing too. I really liked that scramble, like in the red zone, for him to get that touchdown. I didn't think he was getting in, and he just did like a 360 and like jumped right in there.
That was on the 4th down play, right?
Yeah, that was like 4th and 2.
That's good to hear, Austin, because everybody, need I mention, everybody on the radio, you and I heard this on the drive home. That's why I turned it off. They essentially tried to tell us we don't have a backup quarterback. And even this morning, they were like, oh, do the Patriots really want to keep Josh Dobbs as a backup? I'm like, he's a veteran journeyman. He actually had a good season, a decent season. I think it was with the Cardinals a couple years ago. This is a kid who can, a veteran rather, who can, along with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, help Drake May get over the fumbleitis. And I hated that strip sack too, even if it was, we're hearing now, a miscommunication in part between Campbell and Wilson. He did do a good job of bouncing back and then going on that 5-yard rushing touchdown. But I don't want to see, 3 of 5 for 12 yards passing with him in this next game. Like I said to Dow, it's got to be. I'm not with, the Facebook sphere of watching training camp today, and oh look, Drake May's a fumbler. He's a it was something I forget. They said something ridiculous. It was like he'll be he's like a number 2 quarterback or something. It wasn't exactly that, but it was really stupid. Still with Drake May, and that was a terrible play by him the other night. Mike Vrabel's right, but to go fly off the handles on him after every mistake, it's like he's a young quarterback. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know what they expect, to be honest, because it's like Joshua Dobbs, he's here to mentor. He's here to help. You look at all 32 teams in the NFL. Can you seriously look at me with a straight face and tell me that the backup is at the caliber of their starting quarterback?
100%. No, and that is exactly what I said to you. Denver does not have anybody on par with Bo Nix. Washington doesn't have anybody on par with Daniels. Buffalo surely don't have anybody on par with Josh Allen. No. We don't need anybody. We don't need some Joe Schmo Milton coming in here as a 6th round pick and just slinging bottles of wine all over the field. Are you kidding me? Heck
yeah,
no.
You saw him in the Cowboys preseason game. He was awful.
He was horrid.
And yet there's still Pats fans saying that they still want him back. I'm telling you, this because AVP developed Joe Milton. I doubt that any of the Cowboys coaching staff could develop it. But I want to talk about Josh Dobbs before we get to some of your questions. Sorry to keep you guys waiting with the questions, but when it came to Joshua Dobbs, I know he's not like your true starting quarterback. Like, I will take Minnesota's performance as an example. Like during his time with Minnesota, he won some games. Like when Kirk Cousins went down, I saw the Saints game, the Broncos game, and possibly the Falcons game. I thought Joshua Dobbs looked impressive, but then as the season progresses, he didn't look well to what we all expected. But he's more of the serviceable quarterback, and I know that Joshua Dobbs could be like your veteran presence. He's not going to be like your Jacoby Brissett. He's not going to be like a Joe Flacco, who I don't think he's like going to be a mentor, but Joshua Dobbs is at least a serviceable quarterback, and I just don't like how some of the fan base hates on Joshua Dobbs. I just felt like he had I think he felt like he had a bad night. It's just simple as that.
Yeah, to me, like, I don't understand the hate. He's way more competent than a Jacoby Brissett, than like a Brian Hoyer, than a Jimmy Garoppolo type. Like, to me, at least, he is still younger. I mean, I don't even think he's 30 yet. I could be wrong. I thought he was like 29. I thought he was younger, to be honest. But if not, like, still, like, he has the mobility. He doesn't have anywhere near the arm of Drake May, but that's just like let's say worst comes to worst, Drake May goes down or something.
Dobbs let me insert here. Dobbs is exactly 30.
Yeah, so that's a fine age, and I think he could come in. We'd have to scheme for him, right, if Drake May were to get injured, because he's not going to hit the people on the long bombs, in my opinion. I just don't think he has that arm. I mean, I saw it multiple times in the preseason. He was kind of underthrowing people at that game, which is fine. Because I think he underthrew, was it the Kyle Williams streak, and that led to
It was the Kyle Williams.
Correct.
Yes.
It was Kyle Williams. Yeah. It would have been that gorgeous touchdown, and yeah.
So,
but I before we get to your questions, and I just want to point out Tyler's comment on like the whole Milton situation. We don't need a new Zappy and Max situation. Thank you. This is what Washington did years ago when they drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins. This is what Cleveland is doing right now with
Shador and Flacco.
We do not want another Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi situation. This is like, if we think Ben Woldridge is good, he is more of a developmental quarterback, not your backup quarterback. But if he can do well throughout the preseason, he has a chance to be a developmental type quarterback, and then he could potentially be a backup quarterback.
Right.
But wait, go ahead, Andy.
I said this to my buddy at work yesterday, and I could see it in the preseason game. Ben Woldridge is not like Joe Milton. He's not this either undrafted or near undrafted guy who comes into the league thinking he's a number one. He knows that he's there as a backup quarterback. He knows that's his role, and he did look the best of the three quarterbacks the other night. He really did that, like 130 some odd yards, a touchdown, but he knows that he's not there to, potentially take
Compete.
Drake May's spot. I mean, we don't have, and that's what of course, we know how Brady Bledsoe went down. The fan base was pretty much split evenly down the middle. We want Drew, we want Tom, and we know how Belichick went. But I said to Austin, you keep Joe Milton here. There is a repeat of that Bears game from 3 years ago, and that is the last thing we need. That is the last thing the players need, because the players feed off of positive and negative feelings. I mean, and what I want to see is the disrespect of Drake May in the media. I want to see that, turn into his true NFL coming out party this year. Cut down on the fumbles, cut down on the turnovers. It doesn't matter whether or not they're his fault, because you've got a better O-line this year. You've got better receivers. And I hope that this coaching staff, Vrabel, McDaniels, I'm Downing. There we go. The wide receivers coach can help Drake May get to where he needs to be as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. But let's head over to some of your questions that I did star just so I can remember. But let's talk. So this is where we're going to transition to the offensive line. And Tyler brings up a really good question. What do you think of Will Campbell? Basically, what were your thoughts on the offensive line as a whole? I'll start with you, Andy.
Offensive line, I'm just going to pull up my notes here, because the offensive line did not look as bad as they could have. I mean, the aforementioned miscommunication that Campbell and Wilson had on that May strip sack was, I mean, pretty much their only blemish on the night. They only allowed 6 pressures, which, Dow, as you alluded to, is why, and Austin as well, why the passing game wasn't great, why the passing game needs to be worked on. Because with 6 pressures, you'd think you'd have more than, 180 or whatever this is, 175, 180 overall yards from your passing yards from your quarterbacks. You'd think with only 6 pressures, you'd have more than that. But the offensive line, it started out as Campbell, Wilson, Brown, Onwenu, Bryant for the first drive. And then we saw Campbell, Robinson, Bradbury, Strange, and Bryant/Jacobs midway through the second quarter. Another thing, Demontre Jacobs looked way, way better than he did last year. And we were all calling for his head a couple of weeks ago. He played damn well in that game. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, either of you, I don't think he let up a pressure, which is something we did not say last year about Demontre Jacobs. And Ben Brown, our starting center from last year, could actually be competing with Bradbury and potentially Cole Strange for that number 1 center spot. Originally, I thought, as we all did, that it was going to be Jared Wilson and Garrett Bradbury fighting for that center spot. Well, Wilson is now our left guard. But, the offensive line, they held up. Like, Will Campbell made a complete pancake on that Henderson touchdown return. Right on the defender. And if it weren't for Will Campbell, that play's probably not possible. He made another good play on a good stop on a goal line push. I love this delusional Patriots fan quote. Campbell was pushing guys to the parking lot. Apparently he wasn't doing the same thing at practice today, but that preseason game, I think it was on that 4th down touchdown he made by Josh Dobbs. He made a good play too. So Will Campbell is a rookie. He is the youngest member of this rookie class. I don't want to be constantly hearing about how bad he looks at every training session. This is Chris Herrera. Yeah, Jacobs did have a great game. Maybe Doug Marrone is working magic. We'll see how he. Oh, I like that point, Chris. Thank you for bringing that in here, man.
And now that brings me this question: do you think that Doug Marrone as an offensive line coach is better than Scott Peters as an offensive line coach, or it's too early to tell?
What do you think?
I think. Jeez, Austin. Let me say this. I think it's a little early to tell, but after that game, I would give the edge to Doug Marrone. He has the experience. Again, maybe you guys can help me out on this. I think he's got Scott Peters. I think he's considerably older than Scott Peters. Scott Peters is only 46, and Doug Marrone is 61. So that's a considerable age difference. And Marrone has, as a player from 1986 to 1992, he first coached offensive line back in 1993 at Coast Guard. So that's like more or less a 30-year plus stint. Well, he didn't do offensive line that whole time. He was head coach for Jacksonville when they nearly went to the Super Bowl. But yeah, he has a long history with working with offensive linemen, which is versus Scott Peters. Wrong thing. Versus Scott Peters, who was as a coach, he started assistant offensive line coach for the Browns in 2020. So the edge here has to go to Doug Marrone 100%.
Yeah, I just feel like Doug Marrone, especially the one thing I like about Doug Marrone is that his resume speaks a lot compared to Scott Peters. Like,
hold on, guys, I'll be right back.
2 head coaching stints with the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last season, unfortunately, his stint with the New Orleans Saints was not that good, but I would blame more on the Saints than on Doug Marrone. But what were your thoughts on the offensive line performance, Austin?
Yeah, kind of what Andy said. I mean, I thought they played well. I would have liked to see Morgan Moses out there. I do think there were a lot of inactives, but I think either this preseason game or the next one we'll get to see some of these guys like Morgan Moses and Carlton Davis and Barmore actually play. I liked what I saw out of those guys. To build upon Will Campbell, I really liked his tenacity and just like the energy he brought. Like I forget who was saying where he just said he was pushing him to the parking lot. I think I literally was talking to Andy and I said he took that dude out the club like Gronk did not too long ago in our championship runs where, I mean, the dude's a monster, 6'6", and he was just plowing dudes over. I think on one of the early blocking downs, he like pancaked someone and actually had to be separated by a ref or something, or they were like blowing the whistle a lot. Like he was just like feeling it. You could see he was there to protect his guys. Like I'm all for Will Campbell. Like I said, I loved his energy, and I'm interested to see like how he is carrying himself, where that's going to take him because of his attitude and like his energy.
Yeah, we have guys just bringing positive energy right and left this season, which is why the Pats are back. The preseason games will tell a tale. The season opener against the Raiders will tell another one. But I want to see this positive energy going where you see both Will Campbell and Mike Vrabel jumping into a brawl with Trevion Henderson. I mean, there is not another coach in the league who would have done that. And Drake May is sitting there. It's like, oh yeah, after Coach Vrabel jumped in, I considered it too. I mean, this is a team with no eyes. They are, yes, like we said, alluded to, the passing game needs to be worked on. Maybe, see if Chisholm and May have a rapport in maybe the third preseason game against the Giants. I don't know, but these are guys that are working together, are in it for each other, and I'm glad to see it.
But let's now head over switch. Now let's head over to the defense, and we've been talking about the offense throughout the entire stream because, of course, that we're going to be talking about the offense, considering that we scored 48 points on the backup stringers to the Washington Commanders. But before that, it's been a while. Let's just give you a reminder that please make sure, if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps supports the channel in a massive way. We're at 81 subscribers. It would be nice if we can get to 100 subscribers as soon as possible. We would love to see the support. And let's now switch over to the defense. And oh my gosh, the defense made plays. What were your thoughts on the defense, even though we didn't get a sack on Hartman, nor who's the other quarterback, nor Josh Johnson. What were your thoughts on the defense? I'll start with you, Austin, and then we'll get to Andy.
I really liked our defense. I thought we did a decent job against the run. Like you said, we didn't really have that great of a pass rush. I would have liked to see a sack or two. There's no denying our pass coverage was pretty damn good. Had, I don't know, 2 interceptions, maybe 3. I'm thinking 2 though. So I really like the play of those guys. I noticed the one thing I disliked, I saw Marcus Jones getting burned a lot. And not. It's also his size too, where even if he was, catching up, he got toasted on the left sideline and jumped over just because he's so small. So again, that comes back to me really wanting somebody else to play that slot position, or at least in certain packages. That's my biggest weakness. I think the defense has right now is just size in the slot. Yeah, I think we did solid. I don't think there's it's tough in a game where you intercept a bunch, you blow them out, you stop the run, you do all this stuff. Let's see a game where maybe it's more of a back and forth, and we can kind of more easily pick out what went wrong, because a lot of stuff went right.
How about you, Andy?
Yeah, this was not the defensive slugfest that Super Bowl 53 was. I mean, part of me wishes there were more time to talk about the defense, but I do agree with Austin that the pass rush could have been, they're the unit that's being talked about a lot. I mean, yeah, Milton Williams had a couple of good plays, but other than that, we didn't see much from the pass rush. I don't think Khyiris Tonga even played. But from my notes here,
I think he was really. I think Khyiris Tonga did play. If I could find his stats, Khyiris Tonga, where is my man? Considering that I can't find him, but there is a comment from none other than Mr. Jonathan Watson. He said that I saw Washington's QB get bull rush and his offensive line almost into his own lap by one of our guys, and I think it was Joshua Farmer that did it.
I think that was Josh Farmer. Yeah, 2 pressures from 4th-round rookie D lineman Josh Farmer, and that was one of them. Yes, thank you, John, for bringing that up. Craig Woodson had a decent night with 3 special teams tackles, a forced incompletion, and a quarterback hit. 2 pressures came from, like I said, 4th-round rookie D lineman Josh Farmer. DJ James and Alex Austin, let me tell you, they made themselves known in the absence of Davis and Gonzo. DJ James had a beautiful breakup of a would-be touchdown by KJ Osborne, of all people, and Austin jumped a Michael Gallup route for a nice pick. UDFA Jordan Polk also had a nice pick against Josh Johnson in the third quarter, and Del Pettis had a couple of nice tackles in this game. One of them was solo. I think you made a remark on that play, Austin, when he had a solo tackle, Del Pettis. So that was really cool to see. And these are guys who might be in some cases, fighting to make the 53-man roster here. But yeah, I liked how I actually said to Austin, our backups are low key good. And somebody in the chat actually said that earlier this afternoon, especially. It was notable on both sides of the ball, but I guess it was, kind of noticeable, especially on defense when neither of your top corners was there, and you have Austin breaking up passes, and you have, this Jordan Polk guy picking people off.
In my opinion, I would prefer this Polk than the other Polk.
Yes, ditto.
At this point, it might be him heading to IR. So,
especially when our cornerback room has been beaten up with injuries. And I think that cornerback room is going to be one of the more vulnerable positions, not talent-wise, but more health-wise. And I think that when you see our cornerback stepping up, you got DJ James stepping up.
DJ James, DJ James, I think, had the third pick, actually.
Yeah. Also, Tyler mentioned Jalen Hawkins performed really well, especially he was a former Atlanta Falcon and former Charger. I think that Jalen Hawkins, the secondary is going to look great. If healthy, our secondary is going to look fire. And especially the depth, you got to put them in the best situation. And once we do, our secondary is going to be disgusting in the AFC.
Disgustingly good. And my guy Brett Alper was saying from the word go that DJ James could be his dark horse guy to make the 53-man roster, and he's saying it again after that preseason game. That was a beautiful pick he had on that Michael Gallup route. No. Yes, that was right.
Yeah. But I think that we are all set with the defense because I felt like the secondary performed really well. They did. The one thing I will critique on the defense is going to be the tackling, especially up against the run. The defense didn't do a good job with tackling. And I think that if they could tackle really well, especially going up against Minnesota next week, that we could see a sense of improvement because we know Mike Vrabel said that he liked what he saw from the team, but he wished that the defense could improve.
But the Vrabel defenses, I believe, tell me if I'm mistaken, pardon me, tend to focus more on the pass than on the run. I mean, that doesn't mean you want guys who can't defend the run. Obviously, you have to have them, but Vrabel tends to focus more on the pass side of the game, which makes sense. But in the modern NFL, you've got to have guys. I mean, with these mobile quarterbacks and running backs with the likes of Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, potentially even our own Trevion Henderson. You need the quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You need guys who can stop the run. If the Ravens and the Bills aren't going to be dropping 25 to 30 points minimum on every team every week.
Yeah. Also, and I think that's going to be it for the defense. We'll quickly touch on the special team. I think we covered much of the special teams, but what were your thoughts on the kickers? Even though they both had a field goal, which of the kickers was more impressive out of the two?
I think Parker Romo had the better night just because he hit that 57-yarder. That was insane. I didn't think he had that in him. It'll be interesting because I know we drafted Andy Borregales. Borregales. Andy likes it like that.
Borregales.
I think we'll carry two kickers at the very least anyways, because you need somebody that can kick if your kicker gets hurt. It's simple as that. But yeah, I think Parker Roma had a better night. It's been kind of neck and neck, it seems, in training camp, which you like to see. You don't, I mean, as great as it would be to have somebody run away with the job, it's also nice to see a lot of competition and, have two solid kickers that you can both trust they're going to go out there and do what they need to do.
Yeah, I feel like you can have one player on the just one player, and then you can have another one on the practice squad because
that's what I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I just feel I love how I love how both of our kickers are making this a lot more competitive than what you anticipated, and I wish I could find like the stats that Tom posted in the stream, but Borregales scored 53 field goals, whilst Parker Roma scored 51 field goals. Now that doesn't mean anything, but it just shows that unlike Joey Sly, unlike Chad Ryland, these two kickers looked really, really good since Goskowski and Nick Folk. And if we still had Nick Folk, we would never had a kicker competition. But I just feel like now that we have competent kickers making accurate and long kicks, that it just shows that this special teams unit is going to be a force to reckon with. And I gotta say, the running backs and the special teams unit look gosh darn electric. What were your thoughts on Gibson and Henderson's run? Well, we already talked about Henderson's run already a bajillion times. What are your thoughts on Gibson making that impressive punt return, I think?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. When you look at Gibson, you don't really think of him having that breakaway speed. And
Dow, come on.
What's going on?
Wait, what? Wait, can you hear me?
You didn't let me give my words on Romo.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask you, but you go ahead, Andy.
Sorry, Austin.
Oh, you're fine.
So yeah, I actually verbatim said I said pretty much verbatim, Austin, what you said on these kickers. The 50-yard field goal by Parker Romo, he was the better of the two on the night, and I actually said verbatim, veteran kicker John Parker Romo hits a 57-yard field goal and remains neck and neck with 6th-round rookie Andy B. And it's been pretty much that way all of training camp. I mean, for OTAs, we saw pretty much Borregales kicking far ahead of Parker Romo. And training camp, we're not seeing that. So a kicker battle is, it's, if you want to, it's actually kind of an ideal thing. I mean, it's not like having a quarterback battle where you have one guy who thinks he's a 1 and then another guy who thinks he's a 1. You've got two guys who are kicking really well, and you actually haven't had a very good kicking game since Nick Folk was in town. So it's nice to see Romo up in his game, and hopefully Andy B can get some of his mojo back, the 6th-round pick out of Miami, Florida. But so yeah, those are my thoughts on the kickers, and obviously we have Julian Ashby and
and Bryce Baringer.
Thank you.
Sorry if I was being rude, Andy, but I want to ask you, Andy, since I already unfortunately lost him. But what were your thoughts on Gibson making that impressive run, even though we already touched on Henderson?
Gibson, I looked at Gibson, that 64-yard, I think it was, kick return, and I said to Austin, he's headed right for the end zone. If he hadn't been tackled on the sideline, he would have been headed right for the end zone. I mean, and I was beaming. I'm like, am I seeing this again? And then he gets stopped. But it was just like, to see the energy, the electricity, if I may, of this team, and 4 words for Mr. Trevion Henderson, player of the evening. It was just, and then it only wound up being a 20-yard run. We if not for the defense of Washington, we would have had 3 full field kick returns for touchdowns, which I looked this up. The last time we had this is digressing, but the last time we had a quarterback or either a quarterback or 2 quarterbacks score 2 rushing touchdowns was it or 2+ rushing touchdowns was in 2007. I could have been misreading that. It sounds wrong. No. It was 2 different quarterbacks each scoring a rushing touchdown, because in that particular game it was Tom Brady and Matt Castle. And in this game, obviously, it was Josh Dobbs and Drake May. But so that I thought was a pretty cool stat. But anyway, yeah, special teams. I think seeing the running backs Henderson and Gibson involved on special teams is going to be, is like I say, like I said, alluded to earlier, it's going to be spicing things up for the opposing defenses. And like that Henderson run, the Commanders didn't know what hit them. The Gibson run, same thing. So yeah, I really liked seeing those running backs play on special teams. Sorry, I butted in on you, Austin.
We lost you there, Austin.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, I think Gibson has like sneaky speed in the sense of you kind of see him and he looks more like a Ramondre, like in size and strength, but he is considerably faster than Ramondre and has more of that elusiveness that you're looking for. I did really like both the running backs returning. And we only saw obviously a short glimpse of it. But I don't think we really were on the kickoff returning that much anyways. I think we literally only did it like 2 or 3 times just because we were scoring so much and kicking it to them. I would like to see, I think they had Chisholm doing a punt return. I would like to see Chisholm take a couple more of those. I would like to see, Marcus Jones getting some more on the punt returns and kick returns, because I know like obviously he's known around here for doing that. So I just want to see him do some more, get practicing again. Trying to think if there's anybody else.
Yeah, I have here my notes. Efton Chisholm III on 11-yard punt return, and Javon Baker recording 2 tackles and punt coverage.
I want to ask you guys this. Do you think that Javon Baker could be more of a gunner than a wide receiver?
I do. Actually,
there's
a chance.
We could be looking at, a young version of Mac Hollins, if that makes sense, where like Mac Hollins is going to be our gunner for us. And, they're similar, size. I mean, Mac Hollins 6'4", and I think Baker's only 6'1" or something like that. But it's a good way to make the team if you don't think you're going to make it solely off of your talent at the wide receiver position, is to try and contribute in other ways, which at this point, like Polk hasn't. And then with now him re-injuring, I guess the shoulder that he had surgery on, there's a good chance like he's heading to IR. So he'd solely make the team just on like the season ending IR or whatever, or depending on how long that would take to recover. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, the thing with Baker I'm a little worried about is going to be his attitude. But other than that, I just think that Baker needs a little more time to like be more mature. But other than that, I think he could be potentially be the next Matthew Slater. I'm not saying like he's going.
The next who?
Matthew Slater.
Oh,
because if he does well as a gunner, him and Brendan Schooler and to replace Marcel Dial, considering that Marcel Dial is on IR. So gotta consider that Javon Baker, he could be like a better gunner, and he could be a huge asset for the special teams. I know he's a liability on the offense, but that was just because he can't even make plays when they were necessary. Like there were so many drops of Javon Baker, and let's now talk about the winners and losers. So Andy, you could start off with your 3 winners and 3 losers, and then get to Austin's, and then I'll get to mine. But okay. Who are your 3 winners and 3 losers from Friday's game?
My 3 winners were Trevion Henderson, Efton Chisholm, and I'm going to put in a defensive guy here. I'd actually have to say DJ James. The reason I'm saying Trevion is self-explanatory, that the kickoff return, pretty much, and his speed is. You alluded to Gibson's elusiveness, Austin. I think Henderson has plenty of elusiveness as well. And that's something we've needed. We haven't had a truly elusive running back for a while, probably since James White. Chisholm had fallen down the depth chart a little bit in training camp. He'd fallen pretty much behind Polk and Baker and Bourne, and was considered on the outside looking in. It was going to be pretty much 6 or 7 wide receivers. It's going to be Pop, Boutte, Douglas Williams, Diggs, and then Hollins and probably one of Polk or Baker as year 7. And now it's, I saw this in the chat earlier, 6 wide receivers, and the 6th is after this game. We'll keep an eye on these next 2 preseason games. Could well be Efton Chisholm. 50 yards, 6 of 8, and the touchdown. I think he, upped his rankings a little bit there for making the 53-man. And DJ James turned from an also ran into, could he be a cornerback 4? We're talking definitely Carlton Davis is going to make the roster. Gonzo is going to make the roster. Alex Austin is going to make the roster. Do you carry, maybe DJ James as a 4th cornerback? If Terrell Williams is happy enough with what he did on Friday night, maybe we'll go to Vrabel and say, geez, again, worth watching for the next 2 preseason games. But those are my 3 winners from the preseason opener. Austin, take it away.
Yeah, so I like your answers a lot. My 3 winners, it is actually the legit same thing. Trevion Henderson, I thought Henderson was the highlight of the night. He exploded out of the gate with a 100-yard kick return, touchdown, and he finished really well with some, good snaps, receiving and a good run. Clearly, you can tell he's just a game changer. I thought DJ James had some big splashes on defense. And I thought Efton Chisholm, granted with Ben Wildridge, 6 receptions, 8 targets, a touchdown, 50-some-odd yards. That's exactly what we want to see out of a room that's very crowded with a lot of receivers that kind of feel the same. Trending down, I think Kendrick Bourne not being there kind of trends him down, to be honest, because it's just so hard with even John Giles making some plays Friday, and Webb making some plays too. I don't know. I just keep seeing time and time again that there's more players that we have than that can step up and kind of fill that role. I'm just not sold that we need Bourne anymore. Another loser would probably be Cole Strange, in my opinion. I think a lot of the rest of the line played really well. I thought Ben Brown played really good at center, like you said, Andy. And because of that, it seems slimmer and slimmer that Cole Strange is going to have that opportunity to even try playing at center. And from what we also know, Jared Wilson seems to be the starting left guard going into the season. That's kind of what it's trending towards. So I think Cole Strange is another loser. And then I guess my other loser would be Duggar because I feel like a lot of our safeties are balling out, and it just makes me look at him. It's similar to Kendrick Bourne and just be like, what do you truly provide to a team when these young bucks are like outplaying you? Like that's, yeah.
Wait, Andy, have you provided your losers yet? Because you did only provide your winners.
Oh, that's right. Thanks, Dow. I did. My 3 losers are, what did you say again, Austin? You said Polk, Strange, and Duggar.
You said Bourne, Strange.
Yeah,
and
Bourne,
Duggar.
Strange, and Duggar.
So I'm actually going to spice that up a little bit. I do agree with Strange after reading about the center battle now and the fact that the Wilson is now left guard. I mean, that probably would have been Strange's other position had he been, considered for. So I think he has fallen down that O-line depth chart considerably, and it's going to be between. And I think Garrett Bradbury has too, with the way Ben Brown played. But he could easily be the backup center now. Honestly, my other 2, I'm going to go Jalen Polk because of the injury and the fact that I heard it on the radio this morning. He doesn't move that well. So I don't know, maybe the strength and conditioning coaches could work on that, but obviously, he re-injured that shoulder, and was not playing too well to begin with on top of it. So I have him is the lowest ranked wide receiver right now, behind Chisholm and probably behind Baker now as well. So I hate to put a guy who got injured on my loser list, but it's I wish the best for the guy, but part of me doesn't see him making the roster now. And my third loser is I was gonna say Anthony Jennings, but we didn't talk a lot about. We obviously did not talk a lot about the defensive ends after this game. So, oh gosh, now I have to pick another third one. Oh boy. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of I can't really say.
This is a hard one, considering that there's so many good moments.
This is really a hard one. Had Larison not gotten injured, I'd say Mondre. But since Larison did, and if you carry 4 running backs, I think, McDaniels loves him. It's going to have to be Mondre. He's going to probably your RB3. Shit. Oh boy. You're right, Dow. This is a hard one.
Well, my winners are obviously easy. It's obviously it's Travion Henderson, Chisholm, and DJ James. No surprise, because the way they balled out, and especially you need young talent to perform well. I'll give my 3 losers here, and if you can find your third loser, you can tell me ahead of time.
Go right ahead, Dow.
So there's no surprise that Kyle Duggar is one of them, considering that contract that was given to him, plus that injury that he suffered. I feel like it's about time to move on from Duggar. Now, granted that his dead cap might be a little scary, but if we cut him now, it will save at least some of the cap space. And I just feel like Duggar regressed after the 2023 or 2024 season. He had that one impressive season in 2022, and granted, he was playing at a Division II school. but I just don't think that Duggar could thrive in a new defensive scheme, and that's the only thing with Kyle Duggar. My other two, I would say Javon Baker only because of the drops, but since he did well in the special teams, that negates it. But I will say Javon Baker for the offensive side because I think that at this point, Javon Baker, he is not your X or Z or whatever letter wide receiver at this point because of the amount of drops that he had, it was so abysmal. And then here's my third loser, and I know he's gonna be your backup quarterback, but I have to say Joshua Dobbs. I'm sorry, but Joshua Dobbs rush, his mobility is good. His passing, I felt like was not that good. And if Kylo Williams scored these 2 touchdowns, I felt like we would have had some easy points. And Kyle Williams would have been in my winners list, but because he couldn't reel in some of the throws that Joshua Dobbs was making, I just feel like Dobbs had his worst game. Granted, if he can bounce back this upcoming season, his stock can go back up. But for now, I'm going to have to say Joshua Dobbs because of his passing game performance.
You guys convinced me. I'm going to say, I mean, you guys convinced me. I got to say Kyle Duggar because you've got Craig Woodson now as a promising young safety. And Del Pettis, I mean, he had a couple of nice tackles on the game the other night, and he's younger. DJ James is a cornerback, but probably could possibly, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong here, play that double defensive back role. So with the 2 younger guys, including a promising young rookie, I have to agree with you guys and go Kyle Duggar. I mean, I could have, like I said, gone Mondre, gone Dobbs, but yeah, it's you guys push me to that side. It's Kyle Duggar for me for my third.
Yeah, with the also it was a foregone conclusion that Duggar had his stock decrease the moment that he's playing with the second team defense. That just shows how bad this defense looks. Not how not the defense looks, how bad it looks on his end. Considering that now that when we look at the contract again, I felt like we should have given at least 2 to 3 years instead of a 4-year deal. Which now this is going to be the final question of the live stream, and then we're going to briefly talk about the preview for the Minnesota game. But do you think that the Duggar contract might be one of the worst contracts we've ever given?
Remind me of what it is.
It's a 4-year, $58 million deal.
50?
$58 million deal.
58?
Yeah.
58 million over 4 years. Yeah, that's not a great contract. Actually, Austin, go ahead.
I think the Godshaw is way worse. To be honest, the contract we handed out to Godshaw. I think then you'd maybe say Ramondre and then Duggar. To be honest, I don't think the Duggar one was that bad compared to the others, and I think at the time he was one of, if not the best player on our team. The most you could hope for this year is just he gets back to some form of what he was playing at. But regardless of that, if Craig Woodson comes into his own, I think we could be looking at maybe cutting Duggar loose next year. But who knows? I don't know. I'm a big Duggar fan, so I hope everything works out. I think Jabril Peppers and Duggar is going to be nice. I think Craig Woodson coming off is going to be good. I personally don't think it was that bad of a contract.
Yeah, I just also think that if it wasn't for Duggar's injury, it would have been a different story. But then again, he barely impressed me in 2023, and then 2024. We all know what happened with like his technique, but I think that injury did plague him in a massive way. But Chris brings up an interesting question. Where does Duggar's 14.5 per year rank amongst safeties? Like, are you talking about all safeties in the NFL or just in general? Because if you're talking about all safeties, can you check on PFF, Andy, on where Duggar ranks?
Yeah, sure. Sure thing. Kyle Duggar.
Okay, yes, he means all safeties.
In what category?
He said, yeah, can you specify the category for me, Chris?
In 2024 or all time?
Just 2024.
Okay.
Oh, I think you mean 14.5 per year, as in like the contract. That I have zero clue.
Oh, in terms of contracts, yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah. Oh, Tyler brings up an interesting point, and we have to quickly get into the Minnesota preview. But when he signed that contract, PFF and numerous people reporting it said he deserved that money, being one of the best players on the team. Yeah, if it wasn't for that injury, I would have said he would have been one of our best players. But I would have give him like a 4-year, 36 or $40 million deal to Kyle Duggar. It would have been a different story, because yes, this was prior to the injury. Yeah, if it wasn't for that injury, he would have been one of our best safeties. But because that injury did plague Kyle Duggar, I feel like his stock regressed. And as time goes on, this is his second year of his deal. He got 2 years, so he's gonna be done by like 2020. Yeah, by 28. So at this point, I would say I feel like Duggar should have given like a smaller deal. But let's conclude with like the
So yeah, I'm sorry, Dow. I'm no deal expert, but
that I'm gonna have to look up during my spare time, and we'll discuss.
But no, I mean, I can't say it was. I can't say it was one of the worst deals we've ever done, Austin. Like you said, the Mondre one wasn't that great that we signed a year ago.
Chris found it. He said Duggar's contract ranks 11th amongst all safeties in terms of AAV. I found it. From what source, Chris? If 11th amongst all safeties in 2024, interesting.
AAV, average annual value. Okay.
Yeah, but let's now quickly heading to the Minnesota Vikings preview. All right, guys, calm down in the chat. I know Edward can be a troll, but just calm down, guys. He always acts like a troll in the PG chat. You should don't worry about Edward. Just be fine, guys. Just if you just keep it a little PG. Just keep it family friendly in the chat, if you will, because I'm reading the chat and everybody's hating on Edward for his typical trolling, but it is what it is from him. But let's head over to the Minnesota Vikings preview quickly, because I think we spent way too much on the offense and the defense and the whole recap. But what are your thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings preview when it comes to the joint practice and the game, which is next Saturday? I'll start with you, Andy, and then we can Austin.
So I think pretty much it's the same set of guys we've said keep an eye on all through training camp. I mean, through these joint practices, you're going to be wanting to see You're going to want to watch Will Campbell. You're going to want to watch Jared Wilson. You're going to want to watch Drake May, see if that red zone offense can turn up the heat again as they did on Friday. Yeah, I know they've been pretty solid. Keep an eye on the line. Keep an eye on the defense. See if the defense stays up to where it's been hyped to be. Special teams, probably you're not going to have to keep an eye on much there. But it's going to be Drake May. It's going to be Will Campbell. It's going to be does Chisholm's rise continue? Does Baker play more on special teams? Is running backs going to shuffle again? What do we see from Trevion? Does Mondre start fumbling? There's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to watch on the offensive side of the ball. And for the preseason game itself, I did see in the chat, like, some people are saying don't play Drake, but like I said earlier, I'd actually like to see a drive with May and Chisholm on the field. Tell me I'm crazy. I'll take it as a compliment, but I don't know if they'll do it, but I would like to see potentially and obviously I'd like to just see May confidently throw the ball more. Take the check downs when he can get them. Don't try to play hero ball all the time. Maybe look for more of a pass rush, Austin, like you said earlier. And watch Trevion against that. If the Vikings play their number one defense, see if he keeps doing what he's doing. So, yeah, there I go.
How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good matchup. I'm really liking the fact that they're kind of setting us up with a lot of the other up and coming teams in a sense where we just went against, I know Jaden Daniels wasn't playing, but it's Jaden Daniels Commanders. Now we're about to be going against J.J. McCarthy's Vikings. We'll probably get to see a little bit of J.J. Probably a lot, to be honest, because of him being injured all last season because of the preseason. I'm sure they want him to, keep getting his feet wet. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to perform, especially against our defense. Like, that'll be a good matchup.
Somebody, I think it was John, asking earlier, it's like, how's our is our defense going to play well against JJ McCarthy? And it's wait and see for me.
Yeah, the offensive, I'm going to keep an eye on the offensive line, defensive line, because I want to see how well our offensive line can go up against the scary Vikings front, which is coordinated and orchestrated by none other than former Patriots defensive coordinator Brian Flores. Yes.
But like Iron Lungs said earlier, this is not
and another thing to consider is that we're going to Minnesota. We're playing at US Bank Stadium.
At Minneapolis.
The last time we played at US Bank Stadium, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about that game.
That Thanksgiving game. No, let's not go there.
Yeah, but I think that I want to see how our defense goes up against this improved offensive line for the Vikings, because they lost Bradbury, who we snagged, and now they have Ryan Kelly. Then they also have Will Fries. They drafted Donovan Jackson. They brought back Christian Darrisaw from a season-ending injury. The fact that you they brought in Ryan Kelly and Will Fries from the Indianapolis Colts, I'm telling you, the Colts offensive line at the time was really good. Even with Quentin Nelson. Now that the Vikings have a better offensive line, that's going to be a little scary. You still have the weapons in Jay Jettas and Addison. You still have Hawkinson. We could see some Jordan Mason and possibly Aaron Jones if they're starting. But granted, we're going up against second stringers. I think that we might go up against either JJ or Sam Howell, considering that both Drake May and Sam Howell are best friends
from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So my biggest takeaway, my biggest preview of what I'm expecting for the upcoming game is going to be the offensive line, defensive line. But that's going to be it for today's live stream. Sorry if it was like a long ass live stream. There was so much to discuss and so much to break down, especially after a thriller of a game between the Patriots and Commanders. I want to thank you, Andy. Thank you, Austin, as always, for joining me for this session. I can't wait for I can't wait for this upcoming shows like these. If you want to see more of these, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and help supports the channel. Please boost it up to 100 subscribers if possible. And also, comment down below what your thoughts on the Patriots Commanders game. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as Tyler mentioned, we got 2 more film breakdowns to deal with. We got the Jared Wilson one, and then the final boss. We got the Will Campbell film breakdown with us 3 and Tyler. Tyler is leading this big ass project for the film breakdown. You really don't want to miss it. And as always,
let's go Pats.
Go Pats.